Hi Rachel, I hope your day is going well. I wanted to record the next page for you from the book so that you can start working on it. You still have Treat You Better for the recital, so you know what to do for that. Keep working on those fun grooves with the red and the toms, and you have them all written down there for you. And then next week we're going to talk more about the structure and how we're going to put the song together. So we might not do the entire song, and we'll just see, which verses, choruses, and all the other parts we want to put in there. But yeah, for now, just keep practicing the song, and then this is the new page from the book. So this is page 66 in your blue book, and these are, again, 16th note triplets, but now you're pairing them up with the grooves. This is where it gets kind of even more fun, right? So if you're looking at number 1, the groove is really simple, right? It's a pretty standard rock beat, right? And in this case here, you're doing one measure of the groove and one of the fill, right? So here's the groove, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's it. Now the fill part is all on all your 4 toms, as you can see, and you're using those 16th note triplets. So just remember to give it the accent. So 1 triplet and triplet, right? Just keep working on that, right? And because of the last 2 pages that had those fills, I think it should be quite easy for you now. So the snare part happens like this: 1 triplet and triplet. Then you move to the left tom, and it's way slower, right? Because these are just 8th notes. So 2 and then you go 3 triplet and triplet, 4 and. So I'll put it all together just for you to hear. Just like that, right? And if I'm counting, 1 triplet and triplet, 2 and 3 and 4 and, just like that, right? Now obviously, you should pick a good tempo for the groove and the fill. The tempo stays the same for both sides, right? So just remember about that. You don't want to do like a really fast groove just because it's easy and then really like slow that down, right? You don't want to do that. So I'd start with kind of the medium tempo somewhere. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See how it matches together, right? If you're playing to the metronome, you'll be right on click, right? So that's number 1. I'll do it a couple more times. And that's the end. So that's number 1. Actually pretty simple, right? The groove doesn't have any tricky parts in it, and the fill is pretty straightforward too. Number 2 gets a little bit more exciting. We got a double kind of on the bass in the groove. We're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, just like that, right? So that 3 and is right there. Now the fill part, this is where they're really mixing up those different kind of subdivisions that we've always talked about, right? So on the snare, make sure you're taking a close look at that, right? They actually even have the count there for you, but even without the count, you know that it's the 1 and that. It's the group with 1 8th note and the 2 16ths. Just remember to use the correct hand. So 1 and that, right, right, left, yeah? And again, the sticking can change, of course, but for now we're gonna do it like that. So here it is again, right, right, left. That way you end on your left and you can go to your right on the next part, right? So then the next part is your triplets, right? So 2 triplet and triplet, right? I'm going to put it together. 1 and 2 triplet and triplet, just like that. And again, 1 and 2 triplet and triplet, or 1 and 2 and, right? If you don't want to say that triplet little part. So again, the count really helps at the beginning, and then you won't have to count at all, right? I know it can be slightly like boring and annoying counting as you're playing, but start with that. It really kind of lays out a plan for you, and you kind of have an idea of how it should sound like before you start playing, which is what you want to do, right? So just make sure you can hear it in your head, right? Some people don't use count; they just have that rhythm in there. So something like that, right? So if you can hear it in your head before you start playing, then chances are you'll be fine playing it too, right? Now the second half of the fill here is also triplets, but they're the 8th note triplets. Now you already know how to differentiate them, right? So just look at what kind of lines connecting them, right? So if the 2 lines are connecting the triplets, then it's the 16th triplets, right? 16th note triplets. Just like with the 16th notes, right? We have those 2 thick lines at the bottom or at the top, depending, right? And then this one here, only one, there's only 3 notes, so eighth note triplet, right? So here where you really slow things down, right? 3 triplet, 4 triplet, right? Nice and slow. 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So if I put the whole fill together, here it is. 1 and 2 triplet, and triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, just like that, right? I'll do it again. 1 and 2 and 3, just like that, right? I'm gonna put it together with the groove, and again, feel free to pause this, replay any parts if you need. Yeah, hopefully the count really helps. I find that it helps me a lot, you know, and I know when you count too for the first couple of things that you play, it's, you know, works out really well, and then you stop the count. So here it is, number 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 triplet and triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, and I'll just stop counting here. There's your number 2. So you'll notice that they're getting slowly like harder and harder with the next number. So number 3 here, the groove is a little bit more exciting. We got 2 basses, and then a rest and a bass, right? So 1 and 2 and 4, right? That's how the groove goes. If you omit your cymbals, 1 and 2 and like that, right? The fill, you know, it's not bad. You have a 1 crash in there. So it's kind of similar to number 2 where you were doing 1 and but now 1 is on the crash, right? So same thing technically, but, you know, 1 and just like that. Hands are the same, remember. Right, right, left. You're still playing that same groove. So where in number 2 you did 1 and all in the snare, here you do crash and bass on 1. 1 and right? Then we move on to the left tom, 16th notes, just straight 16th note triplets, 2 E and right? We will put it together. 1 and 2 E and just like that. I'll do it again. 1 and 2 E and just like that. And then the 16th note triplet. So 3 triplet and triplet, right? 3 triplet and triplet. I'll put it together. 1 and 2 E and 3 triplet and triplet. Now the ending is kind of, again, they're trying to trick you a little bit here. The ending looks a lot like the beginning, you know, but just remember you always need to look at whether those groups start with a 16th note or with an 8th note, and really look at those lines, right? So here, a lot of people might play the 4 and similar to what they did on 1 and but it's the opposite. So remember, this group here doesn't have the right? So you play 4 E and, right? 4 E and So I didn't play on right? Just 4 E and. So I'll put the fill together. Here it is, nice and slow. 1 and 2 E and 3 triplet and triplet, 4 E and. Right? So you're basically starting off like straight time, and you're going into the 16th note triplets, and then back to kind of that straight timing as well, right? So I'll do it again. 1 and 2 E and 3 triplet and triplet, 4 E and. Right? And keep thinking that behind you you have that metronome beat, right, going. So it's always doing the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that, right? I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? See how it's still very consistent? So yeah, again, if you want to try it with a metronome, that will be great too, right? Just pick a nice kind of slower tempo for the beginning, right? I'll put the number 3 all together, and that should be good for this week, I think, because these are a little kind of more tricky. So next week we'll do the song, we'll check these 3, and then we're going to add the 4 and the 5 to them as well. So here's number 3. Speed it up a little bit. I'll do the first time with the count and then without. Here it is. 1, whoops. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. like that. So yeah, work on these three. These are the grooves and fills with 16th note triplets on page 66 in your book. Don't worry about 4 and 5 yet. You know, if you have some extra time, definitely try them if you want, you know, but otherwise work on the song a lot, because I know the recitals are priority right now. But the recital song is actually quite simple, you know, like we might add a couple of things in there. Might even add one of these fills into it just to incorporate it into our song. But yeah, I hope you have a great day and that you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week. Bye.